Yes, this country has never failed to amuse. By the way, there are things in this country that makes me laugh sometimes. Not because I have a white teeth, but because in me I shield an emotion which is as powerful as a nuclear weapon. You see, when you have sense of entitlement, even the stupid things that excludes your mouth, you feel very confident that it is the right thing, just because you have a sheer feeling of entitlement, which is very unfounded. I hear that these frauds who call themselves Balalos are petitioning the Speaker of Parliament over what they called illegal eviction from northern Uganda. I hear they're even going to court challenging the presidential directive, because the argument is that they legitimately bought land in northern Uganda, therefore the land legitimately belongs to them. That is nonsense. That is absolute nonsense. One, you see, in buying and selling, we can talk about two legitimacies. There can be legitimacy in buying, okay, and then there is legitimacy. Then we can also question the legitimacy of selling. You see, buying can be very easy. You can have a proof and evidence of buying. The fact that you gave money to someone and probably received it, or something has been written down to prove that you really bought something. That is a legitimacy in buying. But the biggest question now lies in the legitimacy of selling. Because we want to ask the question, in northern Uganda and in Acholi particularly, except for the metropolitan areas, townships and cities, the lands in the countrysides, in the villages, are communally owned. So the legitimacy, it takes a lot. It takes almost an eternity to have a legitimate sales of that land. Because first of all, how many people should you consult for the sales to be legitimate? You see, you legitimately bought land from frauds, from conmen. The people who are masquerading here in northern Uganda, they are landowners. These are thieves, these are thugs, these are conmen, these are cartels. They're the ones who sold for you lands. The land they sold do not belong to them as individuals, not even as almost families. The land does not belong to them. It belongs to everybody. It doesn't single-handedly belong to somebody who is masquerading as a landowner. And I don't know, this question was asked by the Chief Justice himself, but I want to repeat it. I want to repeat this question. When you buy something from a thief, do you hold legitimacy over the purchase? You bought something from a thief. I've ever seen in this country where when we find you with a stolen item, then you are also implicated over theft. These people should be finding their ways to prison instead of going to court. You see, you a thief. You bought from a thief and you knew the person was a thief. You knew this is a cartel. You knew that this thing was being sold in a fraudulent way. Sometimes you even participated in helping them execute their fraud. And then here you begin claiming legitimacy. And you run to the same fraudulent setup. You got maybe title, or you got some stamp and other things. All of you are thieves and all of you should be in the prisons, not going to court. Okay. Actually, there's a saying, Okelu, Udo Latole. The elephant breaks the wood that is used to roast it. Okay? You are going to court, the court will rule against you, and they take you straight to prison for being thieves. You are frauds, you are thieves. These Balalos are thieves. You don't talk about legitimacy when you're buying a stolen item. And I think this must be very clear. The argument is, you said you are legitimate, bought it, you gave money to someone, but you gave money to a thief and you knew. you must have understood the land tenure system, which is provided for in the constitution of this country. And if you still go ahead and waste your money to buy when you know you are committing crime, then you stand responsible for it. And in any case, if you try to argue, you may argue that we did not know. Okay, but what do they say in law? That the ignorance of law is not a defense. So you are not going to defend yourself that you did not know that the land tenure system in Acholi land was communal and that there must be way. In fact, it is not sold. That should have been an open secret. But you deliberately went there because partly you have some sense of entitlement. You felt protected. You felt you had the powers. You felt you have weapons to defend yourself. There is a way you were pompous. That is why you accepted to work with the cartels. Some people are saying, oh, you people, why chasing people? Other people are staying in other lands. There is no Acholi who is not living outside metropolitan area and owning hectares and hectares of land. That's an absolute lie. We are in a multi-ethnic state. Much as we talk about nationalism in Uganda, but it's important to respect and appreciate the fact that we have ethnic diversity in this country and that their identity must be respected and protected by the same government. And land is the sole identity of any society. As long as you no longer own a land, that group of people ceases to exist. And the fact that you are illegally buying land and staying here with the barrel of a gun in our backyard, that is not just a threat to our life, it is a threat to our existence and identity as the people. And I think this is not business as usual that you must understand. Okay, we are in a multi-ethnic society. We can coexist, we can move, but the very core, the very foundation of an existence of an ethnic community must be respected. You cannot exploit them. The moment you begin to do that, you're crossing a red line. You are thugs, you are thieves, you are frauds. You have bought land through cartels and you want to claim legitimacy. That is a sense of entitlement which we don't like, and that is the pride, that is the arrogance that we don't like. Okay, that's the arrogance that we do not like. So no matter what you're going to do, you are brewing in something that is going to be quite bigger than what you expected. In fact, you are going to bear a child you never conceived. This I must promise you, the Balaalos and their sympathizers, that it is not going to be business as usual. We are saying Balaalo must go, and they must go. Thank you. They must go. This is our message. Very unequivocal, very clear. It's one and for all. Balaalo must leave our land.